Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is another wonderful, interesting episode of Voice to Thoughts with Praise. Today I have something really beautiful cooked up for you, and I know beyond every reasonable doubt that you're going to enjoy this one I'm going to drop here today. But before I go on, I'd like to give a shout out to Aka Nani and his new beautiful wife Claire Nani. They got married on Monday this week. It will interest you to know that Aka was one of the very first vloggers or YouTubers I followed when I wanted to become a YouTuber as well. So I went onto his channel, watched his stuff, and he had great stuff. He still does have great stuff going on. So maybe you should just check him out. Happy married life to you guys. Now, talking about marriage, today I want to talk about some topics that I think people do not pay attention to when they're in relationships. I mean, I see people in relationships and they're going on dates. See, there's nothing wrong in going on dates. There's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself and having a good time with someone you love. But if you are preparing for marriage or you see yourselves together in the long run, I think there are some very important questions that you need to ask yourself. So first and foremost, what is dating to you? Do you yourself and your partner, do you guys have the same definition of the process that you're currently going through? Do you think that maybe dating is all about going to the beach, having fun, taking selfies, enjoy yourself? Well, if that is all you think dating constitutes, then congratulations. If not, then let's go on this journey. So one of the questions I think is very important for couples to ask themselves is the question of children. Do you want to have children? How many kids do you want to have? How many years are we going to wait after marriage to start having children? Do you have any specific gender in mind? What if we cannot have children? What do we do? Do you believe in IVF, adoption, egg or sperm donation, and whatnot? Do you believe in using contraceptives and birth controls? On these questions that I think you should ask yourselves when you're in relationships, I'm not going to be talking about sex, finances, and spirituality, because those ones I'm going to pile them up and talk about them in one other video. So that will be the part 2 of this video. Another thing I think you should talk about is parenting. How are we going to raise our children? Are we going to raise them the way my parents raised me, or the method your parents use in raising you, or are we going to adopt new methods entirely? How are we going to raise the children? You know, I was having a conversation with someone one day and this issue came up, let me tell you. So I said, if my child has a fight with his mates and he comes crying, I really don't know what to do. Would I ask him, my friend, go back and have that fight? I'm not fighting for you because as your mom I will not be here every time. Or would I go and help him spank that friend? Or will I go and try to talk to them amicably? See, there are several possibilities on how to handle this issue. You guys should have an idea of how it works. These are things you should talk about. So parenting, how are we going to raise our children? Okay, chores, the issue of chores. So who does what? Do you think as a woman it is my job to take care of the entire house? Do I have to clean, do everything? See, it's good to be in love, but reality sets in when you get married, and it's easy for resentment to start when you get into the relationship and you realize that your partner expects you to do everything or to do a bulk of the work while they sit in the sitting room waiting for you to serve their food after a hard day's job. So it's important to discuss chores. For example, I know that when I get married, one of the things that I would reduce, like one of the things I won't really do so much is ironing, pressing clothes. I hate pressing clothes. So whoever I'm going to get married to, better get ready. You're gonna press clothes, okay? So get that straight. Okay, what do you consider cheating? Have you seen my video on relationship shenanigans? I think you should see that video, but if you haven't, here is it. Have you asked your partner what they consider cheating? Because there are several types of cheating and different people have different definitions of cheating. So I think that's something you should get out of the way. What do you consider cheating? Another one is in-laws. So how much space are we going to allow in-laws in our lives? Are we going to do an open door policy where it will be easy for them to just walk in anytime? Are we going to have to tell them whenever you want to come to my house, make sure you call? How are we going to handle them? How are we going to be giving out money to them? Just In-laws, everything about in-laws, try to talk about it. Another one is prenup. So this issue of prenup sometimes causes problem, or it causes a lot of problems. So you guys should be willing to ask yourself, would you like to sign a prenup? If not, why? Do you even know what a prenup is? If not, Google it. Just before I go on, please know that I will not be able to exhaust everything I think you should talk about. So I'm going to give you the ones I can give you in one short video, and the rest you go and Google them yourself, or read books, or just try and fill up, whatever. Try and help yourself with the rest, okay? So another one I think you should talk about is, what are your deal breakers? What are your deal breakers? Do you believe in divorce? What is the one thing, or what are the things that will happen that will make you give up on this marriage? Like when we get married eventually, what are some of the things I will do? What are the situations we'll be in that will make you feel like, man, no, I can't take this anymore, I'm out of here. So these are questions you should ask yourself so that you know how to avoid issues like this. If anything happens to the both of us, what will happen to our children? See, we are too superstitious in this country. That's my own problem. You feel like when issues like this come up, the first thing people say is, God forbid, I shall not die but live. We know that you shall not die, but this is life. Things that we do not plan for happen. So if anything happens to me and you, what will happen to our children? Are they going to my parents' place? Are they going to your parents' place? Will my sister take over? Would this, would that? Please talk about that. That's something very important that you need to talk about. Do you have a will? Do you plan on having one, maybe immediately you get married? Who is going to be your next of kin? Are you going to leave your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister as your next of kin? Those are things you should talk about. How will you handle parents when they're older? If both of you have parents, you know that as you are growing, your parents are growing as well. So what happens when your parents become very old? Do they come live with us? Do they live with my sister? Do we contribute money for them? Do we contribute money and then put them in an old people's home? These are things you really need to settle. So what happens if one of you gets your dream job outside where you currently live, for example, abroad? So as the husband, if you get a job maybe in Canada, is the whole family relocating with you? Would you ask your wife to leave her job and leave everything, ask the kids to leave their school and their friends and relocate with you? If she's the one who gets the job, if it's the wife who gets this kind of opportunity, are you willing to up and go? Are you willing to leave your job and go with her? Or you feel like because you are the man, everybody goes with me, but because you're the woman, nobody goes with you? These are things I think you guys need to sort out between or amongst yourselves. So you will not know the end from the beginning. If you're watching this, if you've come this far, thank you very much. You can't know everything. The essence of these questions is not so that you will be 100% sure, because trust me, this marriage thing, I'm not married. Okay, so I'm not even married first and foremost, but I happen to be around a lot of married people, and I have read a lot of married books, and I know that married people are not the custodians of wisdom. So marriage practical and marriage theory are two very different things. But marriage practical will be very, very difficult if you've never had these discussions. So these are ongoing conversations. People change, people grow, ideologies change, but it's important that you start having these conversations so that you at least have a sense of the kind of person that you're going to be living with for the rest of your life. Another thing I think we should talk about is your partner's outlook to life. I have observed that many people do not date people on their wavelength. I think that's one topic I should even talk about, date your wavelength. Because you see a very intelligent guy, smart, articulate, he knows what he wants, he knows how to get it, he knows where he's going to be in 10 years' time. But he's going out with maybe a girl who doesn't even know her place in the world yet, who is still trying to find her place, who is probably very naive. And after a while, you discover that this guy starts getting really frustrated because he feels like you are not this, you are not that. So what is your partner's outlook to life? How can you bridge the gap? How can you close the gap? You feel like, okay, I'm well read, but my partner is not well read, so we can't have very intellectual conversations. Are you open to reading books? Would you like me to send you audio books or normal books? Would you be interested in attending conferences? What is your outlook to life? How this life, from what angle are you viewing life? If you're not viewing life from the same angle, it might be very difficult. So that's something you guys should talk about. Family background. Now, people behave Nobody fell from the sky, okay? People behave in a certain way because they're from certain places. Now you're going out with a guy who says, I grew up in an abusive home. My dad used to beat my mom. That's fine. Now you would understand why he does some things. No, I'm not trying to say that because his dad used to beat his mom, he will beat you. That's not true. But then look at it. You don't want to be like your dad here. Are you doing anything are you intentionally doing anything to not end up like your father? Or you're just sitting down and wishing and hoping and using willpower to say, I don't want to end up like my father? You have to be consciously working at something. So it is important to know where your partner is coming from, because then you'll be able to understand their outlook to life, be able to understand some of the things they do and why they act the way they do sometimes. So that's it. Pets. So I read on Twitter, I read a story about a guy who he had a girlfriend who had a snake as a pet. And this guy hates snake. I mean, he's a typical Nigerian. I hate snakes. I can't come to your house and see snakes. You will never be my friend again. I don't care what I'm gaining from you. So talk about pets, talk about dogs. Some people don't like dogs. Some people, I love cats. I actually do love cats. But if I am in a relationship with someone who doesn't like cats, then we would have to come to a compromise. I might sacrifice my cats because I like you. Right? So you need to talk about having pets. It might look very small, but you don't know the kind of things that break relationships. Another thing you should talk about is, who are you accountable to? As a guy, who are you accountable to? As a woman, who are you accountable to? When the day that water will pass Gary, who do we talk to? Because somebody who is not accountable to anybody, the day that something happens, the day that he or she goes beyond what you can handle, then there is nobody to talk to. You can't be living your life as if now only you are Kaku. You need to find a mentor. You need to find somebody that you can be accountable to and be accountable to that person. So find out if your partner is accountable to somebody. What happens if something happens to me? See, this is my pretty face. What happens if I'm in a fire accident and I get, like, half of my face gets burnt? Or I can no longer use my legs and I have to be in a wheelchair? Would you be comfortable being married to somebody who is disabled? If yes, okay. If no, why? Then, you know, some of these questions are not, I'm not telling you to ask these questions so that when they answer in the negative, you cut them off. No. You can help a person readjust the way they think. Okay, what are your likes and dislikes? What do you like? What do you dislike? What are the things you think I can avoid? We are human beings. There is no way you will not end up offending your partner. No matter how, even if you know the person as much as you know yourself, there's no way you won't end up offending that person at one point or another. But it is important to at least know some of the things that they like and some of the things they don't like. What makes you happy? What's your love language? What will I do that will make you know that I actually love you? Another question is, what are your expectations? So what do you think the role of a wife is? So I become your beautiful wife tomorrow. What do you expect of me as a wife? Or what do you expect of me as a husband? Do you expect that because I am the husband, I am to provide 100%? Or because I'm the wife, I'm not to do anything? I'm not to maybe work or do anything? I'm just to be at home taking care of the children? Would you want me to sacrifice my career for the home? Would I be willing to sacrifice? You know, these are conversations you should have. What would we do differently from our parents in marriage? So I expect that you are honest with each other and know how your families are, and then agree on what you would do differently from your parents' marriage. Okay? Another thing that is very important to know is mental health history. Have you ever been in a mental home? Do you usually have bouts of depression? Do you have mood swings? Although the thing is, with time you get to know some of these things. Well, it doesn't hurt to ask once in a while, you know. So do you have criminal records? Have you ever been in police custody? Have you ever been maybe reprimanded in a court of law? Have you ever been charged and all that? And then what are your medical records? This is not something you should even play with at all. What's your blood group? What's your genotype? What do you have, like a recurring sickness in your bloodline? Is your blood pure? Are you pure breed? Is there a sickness that is passed down from generation to generation? What are your medical tendencies? these are questions. Please, you need to ask these questions, and we need to stop being emotional. I know how interesting being in love can be, but sometimes you need to be very, very honest with yourself and tell yourselves the truth. Okay? So, yes, just before I continue, with regards to medical records, do you know your resource factor? Do you know the implication of having a negative or a positive resource factor? Have you considered any of these things? These are things I think you guys need to talk about. Socials. So there are people who attend birthdays every other week. There are people who are mogbomoya. There are people who like attending parties. Are we going to be attending parties every day? If our friends are we expected to buy gifts to all the parties? Would you be buying ashwebi every week? Let us know if you'll be buying. Are you the ashwebi kind of person? Are you going to be buying ashwebi every other week? These are things you need to put into consideration. So how do we celebrate anniversaries? How do we celebrate special events? What do we do? Do I take you out every month? Do I take you out every week? Do we wait for 1 year? Do we throw a big bash whenever it's anybody's birthday? These are things you should talk about. Conflict resolution. So conflict resolution is a big deal in relationships, and unfortunately many couples do not know how to properly handle this issue of conflict resolution. So one of the questions you should honestly ask yourselves as partners is, how do we handle conflict? Is this the best way to handle conflict? Are we doing pretty well? Can we do better? If this conflict is beyond the both of us, like if I can't talk to you or we are both not level-headed, who do we go to? Do we involve parents? Do we involve friends? Do you believe in paying for professional counseling? Or do you believe that every fight should be taken to the pastor? Are you the kind of person who believes in third-party intervention, or you believe that we should try and sort out our issues by ourselves no matter how difficult it is? These are things you should talk about. I'm going to stop here because the list is endless. But in my next video, I'm going to be talking about sex, finances, and spirituality. Those are 3 very important aspects of things you need to talk about before you get married, and it's going to be interesting. I promise you. If you enjoyed this video, if it was useful to you, please let me know in the comment section, and feedback is very important. I appreciate the fact that you tell me everything that went wrong with this video. It helps a lot because it helps me get better. But then tell me what you liked about the video. Encourage me, okay? Tell me what you liked about the video and tell me how I can improve as well. So feedback is very important. Please comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers before this year runs out, and you've got to do this with me. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Kindly share this amongst your friends. If you have friends or siblings or anybody who is in a relationship and you feel like, man, this person needs to hear this, please share it with them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.